questions like, do you want to go live? What a thing to ask. I mean, do I want to go live? Let me think about that. Why did I click the button if I didn't want to go live? I'm just mildly curious. I suppose. Well, I suppose somebody could have clicked on the button without intended to. Yeah, I suppose that could have happened. Yeah, I know. On the video, it actually sounds like I know how to play. I'm also not sitting at a weird angle trying to play it. I don't think this is as good of a chair for playing a guitar in as the one that I usually sit at. Obviously, I am not at my desk indoors. You're actually watching me live on the porch with no green screen. So this is live from the porch with no green screen tonight. I know, crazy stuff, isn't it? John won't be able to come over tomorrow because I got something else to do that I need to get back home for. Ah, shucks, that's okay. Well, now you got stuff you got to do. And we got a good visit in last week whenever you stopped by. I actually see more of you than any of the other cousins. So, yeah, don't worry about it. More of you than the rest of them. Imagine that. Sass Red just got in from the garden. Hey, great. Yeah, it's starting to get a little dark out there for gardening. And if you don't have lights set up everywhere like some of us do, then you kind of come in eventually. It just starts getting too dark. Hey, Bill. Bill, hi. Hi, can I have your attention, please? Over here, sir. This little table here, it's not actually a cat toy. It's not. It's not here. Look. Bill. Bill. Oh, Bill. Do you like this? There you go. Hey, you play with that. There you go. Okay. BIOS 10 seconds. But at least he likes it. We got that little toy a long time ago, but the balls that came with it came out of it. And okay, he likes it. So you got to get replacement balls for those. But other than that, it's a fun toy. It'll amuse them for at least a little while. Carolyn Foodport's with us. Vicky's with us. Katie's with us. Hiya, Godness. Hiya, doing? Broadcasting to you from the catio, from the screened-in porch that has become a catio. I guess that's what they're calling it. Tonight we're going to go a bit into what is it? The principles of creation or the principles of establishing natural systems? What do you guys want to hear about? I kind of skipped over some of the creation stuff earlier and kind of. I didn't really know whenever I was doing this a few weeks ago that there was more to the entire lesson program, and apparently there is more to the entire lesson program. I just didn't realize that was the case back then. That apparently it's a 3-part system of lessons, each one with 3 key or core principles to know, which means if you know 9 things, it's all you ever need to know. Well, I mean, then the rest of it's just details. So maybe that's interesting. I don't know. But there are 3 things that go together that reinforce each other. One is an understanding of natural law. The other one is an understanding of how natural systems operate. And the other one is an understanding of how the power of creation functions. And if you know these 3 things, then you can shape your reality or your garden to the way that you need it to be. And it will not be a horrible thing. It'll be a wonderful thing because it'll be one of these things where you create ecosystems. Of course, what we're going to be talking about tonight, the creation of ecosystems. And it occurred to me while we were undergoing this little interesting learning experience over this past week. Learning experience for me. I haven't done a little project like this in a few years, and the last time I did it, I had a whole bunch of United States Naval Gunners's mates at my disposal that I could talk into engaging in a little caper. It's a little bit different whenever you don't have military personnel. Some of you are military personnel, but feral humans are a little bit different, but fun. absolutely fun to work with. Thank you very much, everybody who has worked with us on this project. If you don't know, just tune back a couple episodes. We're not going to go into much detail on that right now because it's getting taken care of, and it doesn't require any additional thought at the moment, other than some updates here and there for the people that are involved. All right, so a couple weeks ago, I started talking about how to use the power of creation, and I didn't really have an outline figured out for how I was going to present this, so it was a little bit sloppy, and I apologize because I kept on getting off of the central point and deviating. There are little side paths and avenues that each of these points require a little bit of expounding upon. But I should have just gone through with outline first, and then we can go back and cover the ground. Let's start off from the top for people who missed it, because now we have it bulletin pointed and easy to read through. Goes like this: the power of creation is the birthright of every human being. It's inherent. It can't be given, taken away, earned, traded, or denied. I can't give it to you. I can't do anything more than tell you that you already have it. And since you already have it, this puts the responsibility of, well, everything on your shoulders, because once you're aware of the fact that you are participating in the creation of the world that you live in, you have to start asking the question, well, what is my responsibility for the world that I'm inhabiting, right? All right, but I can't give you the power. I can't give it to you. It's not something I can go, poof, you now have the power of creation that you're just going. You already had it, right? The second bit, power of creation, as I may have mentioned before, it is always on. It does not require concentration. It does not require conscious direction to function. It's just like breathing. You do it all the time, but most of the time, you don't notice. And you don't notice because most of the time, you're unaware of the thing that causes the action, the creative power, how it actually functions. You're unaware of its function because, once again, it is natural. You never have to think about it. But if you're not consciously directing it, it is being directed, just not by your conscious effort. So it gets us to our third part, which is every conscious act of creation begins in the imagination. And this is the thing that makes human beings different from all the other living and breathing and moving animal beings that you can encounter on the earth and maybe beyond it. I don't know. I haven't encountered any beings from beyond the earth, but I'm sure that they'll probably be out there somewhere as big as the universe is. But so far, it's common to humans, and it may be common to some other being that we encounter some out there, but I don't know, that we have imagination. And because we have imagination, we can do things that other animals simply cannot possibly do. They can't even fathom it because they operate off of an instinct, on an instinctual level. A person can manufacture choices. This may seem strange, right? Okay, well, what does that mean? Well, you can use your imagination to imagine the possibility of things that do not exist yet, and then act upon that choice to go and do things that will make that thing that does not exist yet come into existence. And this is the interesting part, is because you don't have to create the choice yourself. Somebody else can use their imagination and present a few choices and say, hey, would you like that to your Coca-Cola? Right? And you make a choice. That's a simple way of looking at it. But once again, whenever they presented you with a choice and you chose something, you surrendered your own power to imagine and create to their idea, whatever it was. But that's how it works. People are always creating. And it begins in imagination, whether you're using your imagination or somebody else's imagination. Ultimately, that completes the act of creation. So this is happening all the time, constantly. Whenever I said that, okay, so when anyone forgoes their own imagination and chooses something presented to them by another, they have given their creative power to that other. And you can say it's lending them your creative power. It's something like you give it away and you can never get it back, right? It's like, oh no, I decided to go with you on your idea about what we should have for lunch. So now you get to choose lunch forever. Now it doesn't work that way, but it does work that way in the moment. The moment that you say, I don't want to think about it, I don't want to engage my imagination and think of some answer to this thing that you say is a plot problem or whatever. Whenever I say, you think about it for me, you present me with what you think is a good idea, and I can choose from that, That's whenever you surrender the creative power to somebody else. And that it could be a perfectly good and willing and conscious thing to do so, because you may say, look, I don't know how to do any of this stuff, so you get with me and give me my options and I'll pick something. It's like, you're going to have somebody work on your house, but you don't know exactly how all of that stuff works. You just know what you think looks good. So whenever they present the plan to you, you can choose it, right? Just be careful who you give your contracting business over to. You can get taken. But once again, that is also a consequence of surrendering your particular power of imagination and creation to somebody else. All right. So through my lens saying, Steve, do you keep a coffee pot on? Yes, we do keep a coffee pot on. What is this stuff that I'm drinking right now? This is actually a pre-mixed coffee blend that I'm having tonight. But we do keep the coffee pot on, and visitors are usually welcome during business hours. It's a little late for visitors right now, unless you've called ahead. All right, let me see here. Sasquatch saying hitchhiking really helped me understand the power of creating route. It really does, because you're in a position where you don't have anything and you have to create your own opportunities. And that's really kind of whenever you're out in wilderness, you get to be in touch with really your creative power, because it is 100%. I imagine, what can I do? It's nobody's walking up to you and saying, would you like a soda with ice today, sir? Whenever you're hitchhiking, no. If you want something to drink because you're thirsty, you have to imagine your way through how you're going to get something to drink while you're out there. All right. Mary says no onion emoji. Oh, okay. So we need to have an onion emoji for channel members. Okay, I will try to remember that. An onion emoji for channel members. So I was writing on scratch paper. Oh, I had more stuff back here. We were working on how we wanted the cat tractor to work. We need to get it done soon, because I'm starting to spot gopher mounds popping up in the garden. I need to get the kids back to work doing what they're supposed to be doing. Carolyn is asking, can I announce the gardening masterclass that David the Good is doing this Saturday? If you must steal the spotlight and not let me do it, then fine, you may announce David's masterclass. Do you have the ability to share the link, Carolyn? Have we given you a wrench? If you have not got a wrench, go ahead and throw it up there anyway, and one of the mods go ahead and approve it. If it even goes up, I don't know if you can do that. But if you've got the link, share it, and if the mods can approve it, that would be awesomeness. Awesome sauce. That's so cool that he's doing a masterclass. David the Good, awesome gardener, funny author, funny. He writes like me, or he writes like I think, which works just as well. I can just read through his stuff. Exactly what I'd say, or something like it. If I sat down to write a book, it'd look an awful lot like he wrote it. So I don't have to write gardening books, because he's already writing them. There you go. Okay, let me see here. You needed to know about the creation principles, because I was going to lead into natural system principles today. I've already talked about natural law. I need to come up with a 3-part thing for natural law to explain that. As it is, it's a 1-hour basic rundown. I could probably make it quicker, but anyway, natural system principles. I've been knocking this thing about in my head for a while, because how do I describe this? I started thinking about this one afternoon and this has been years ago, whenever I came home to discover that one of my wood chisels had been savagely and brutally attacked and used to pry the top of a paint lid can off, so that a painting project in the roommate's bedroom could be conducted. And of course, the wood chisel was never the same afterwards. And the thought occurred to me at the time, pardon me, I'm taking my shoes off. I hope you don't mind. The thought occurred to me at the time, I'm on my own porch and it's open air. It's fine. It's fine. Don't make me throw socks at you. All right. So, so the thought occurs to me that whenever things are not used in accordance with their purpose, the purpose that they've been created for, they have a tendency to get broken, right? They don't last as long. They wear out. They get broken. And it's really a true thing of a natural system as well. So that was a thought that had occurred to me back then. I hadn't really fully formed it out into a system of thoughts or ideas that made a whole lot of sense together. It was just an observation to the side, like, happy is that which serves its purpose. Maybe we could like embroider that and hang it on a wall somewhere, and somebody can point at that and go, oh, where did you get that proverb? Oh, there's this guy named Jason. He says, happy is that which serves its purpose. And I thought it was just the cutest thing. We made it into an embroidery, stitch thing, and the ladies did the quilt, and everybody had fun. No, I don't know. I didn't really have anything to connect it with, but it connects to what we're going to call natural system principles, because as I've been discovering, it's not enough to just put seeds in the ground and grow plants. And it's not enough to put a few trees down in a field and say, well, there's a forest. No, it's not a forest. It's a grassy field with some trees that you just planted. And most of the trees are going to die because it's a field full of grass. The trees don't really belong there. If the trees do show up there, if they start to take over the field, the way it used to work was some sort of a ruminant animal, large mobs of them would come through and push down the trees and make sure that the grassy field didn't get swallowed up by forest. So there are feedbacks in nature that stop change from happening too drastically. You can't just drop a whole bunch of trees into a grassy field and poof, it's a forest. It doesn't work that way. You have to change the soil. You have to alter the ecosystem to make it into a forest. That does have trees as one of the things that are in a forest, but the forest itself doesn't make the tree, or the trees themselves don't make the forest, right? So I see a lot of errors happening like that with when people get together and they mean well, and they think, yeah, we got to do this. We're gonna plant a forest, and we're gonna clean the air, and we're gonna fight pollution, and it's gonna be great. It's like you've got all the right ideas and great energy and positivity going, and then put a bunch of trees into a grassy field, and the trees die, and everybody gets disheartened and goes, well, shoot, this just seems hopeless, right? But it can be fixed. It can be fixed. And the way it's fixed is we have to understand about natural systems before we start tinkering with them. Otherwise, we're going to be spending an awful lot of time, an awful lot of money, and getting really, really frustrated trying to make things happen that nature doesn't want to happen right now. And it doesn't mean that nature doesn't want them to happen. It's just that you have to come up to nature and talk to her the right way about these things and say, hey, we're going to make a little bit of an alteration here. Will you work with us? And nature says, I'm going to be able to produce more out of this. Sure, I'd love to. Let's go along. And so this work, it is cooperative, and it requires listening and talking and communicating in effect with the whole ecosystem that you're building. Anyway, maybe that's probably deeper than I wanted to get right off the bat. So first thing about natural sense principles is everybody knows one thing. Everybody knows this. You've heard it before. What is it that nature abhors? Nature cannot stand what? Anybody tell me? Nature can't stand what? Hello, John H. Stevenson IV. Lemwink. So far, everybody has loved your contributions to the letter writing campaign, and we greatly look forward to hearing what else you've got. Unless you're only sending them to the media director and not to me, I'll have to bug her and see if you're just sending them to her. I can read them too. There we go. Mary says it. She wins the gold star. Gold star for Mary is Tulsa Fox. A vacuum. Nature abhors a vacuum. That's right. Everybody knows this one. Everybody knows this one. He's got more. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much. We've got another writer in. We've got a couple of them now. Nature abhors a vacuum, of course, but that's not the only thing that nature abhors. There's the flip side of that coin. The flip side of that coin is nature cannot abide an overabundance or a surplus of anything. You get an overabundance of a surplus of anything, what do they call it? The permaculture kids know this one because I've heard them talking about it. I just overheard it and said, yeah, he's actually right about that one. Sometimes Bill Mollison actually is right about something that he didn't learn from my grandfather. He could have learned from my grandmother, but an overabundance of anything, a surplus of anything that isn't being utilized becomes pollution. That's what pollution is. An unutilized resource is pollution. Big old stack of tires in a dump. Pollution. But if you figure out a way that you can use those tires for something productive, no longer produce pollution. Now they're building material, right? So you find a use for that surplus. It's no longer pollution. It's now building material. It's now something that has a use, has a function. Figure out what the function and use of everything that you have in abundance or a surplus is, and you no longer have pollution. You have a solution, an opportunity. This is what a problem is, right? The problem is just another way of looking at an opportunity. You were just looking at the opportunity from the wrong end. You flip it around and you go, oh, wow, that was an opportunity. Look at that. I can do this, 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 and this. But if you look at the other ones, oh, this is a problem. What do I do about that? All right. I saw Lori's World pop in here for a second here. Let me scroll back up. Hang on. Mary says she's got a print. No, the printer part is going to be like printing in the 5s and 10s of thousands of things, not 1 or 2. But thank you, Mary. Appreciate it. I could swear I saw Lori's World pop in. Did you guys see Lori's World pop in? I could swear I saw Lori's World. There she is. Hi. Hello. Hey, Lori, are you still doing IT assistance for Luddites? I know I'm not a total Luddite, but I sometimes find myself at sea. If you do IT work and consultation and can help me out with some stuff with my website, I would love the help. Just let me know how much you charge. All right. Okay. I'll get you some more prompts. Did you like the one about Sebastian? Sebastian? Yeah. Ah, I see. I actually have some lion's mane growing in the front yard. Well, if it grows, I plugged the sycamore log and I got a sycamore log and soaked it and then got it, drilled it, soaked it, plugged it, and now it's sitting waiting to see if fruiting will occur. It was last year, so if it's going to happen, it'll either happen sometime this spring or sometime this fall. And I might need to get more shade around it, maybe to get it to do its thing. But I'm just kind of eager to see if I can get it to grow, and if I can get it to grow in kind of a natural setting, not out of a box kit. Ooh, I need to try it out of a box kit too. I've actually got an offer to test a box kit, one of those boomer boxes, and do a product review for it. It's kind of actually something I'd be interested in doing, because I like mushrooms. I do. And making mushroom growing easy for everybody is something I thoroughly support. So I just might. We'll see. I just might. We've got turkey tail and reishi growing in the yard too. We got lots of turkey tail. It just popped up, but the reishi I actually had to put the spawn down for. Now, Mary, that is not true. Write your emails and send them to bilbobetty2024@gmail.com. Kimber, if that's not the right email address, you let me know, because that's what I've been telling people to send the access to. I mean, you can send them to me, but make sure you send a copy to bilbobetty2024@gmail.com, because that's where we're collecting this stuff. It's either cover letters or they're going to show up on the channel as support emails, and of course, don't worry about putting your name on there. If you don't want to put your name on there, you don't have to put your name on there. As a matter of fact, we have volunteers from fire departments and police stations and sheriff's departments to have their names and address put on there. So don't worry about it. It's covered, guys. It is really, really covered. I had a nice chat with the small town mayor this Thursday. It was very, very productive. Anyway, moving on. We're gardening now because, like I said, the other problem is being handled. But more people that want to participate in the troll are always welcome. All right. Okay, yeah. Vicky's saying, case in point, we're talking about overabundance. We're getting back on track to what we're talking about. We're going to have 2 spawns of cicadas. Usually, there's like 2 different tribes of cicadas, and they don't sync up. But every few hundred years they do. We'll have a whole bunch of cicadas. A whole bunch of birds are going to eat really well. What does that mean? We'll have more birds. If we have more birds, we're going to have more bird interactions with other birds, more sick birds interaction with other birds, and a greater likelihood of avian flu. Best thing that we have that we can help protect ourselves in settled areas from outbreaks of avian flu is a healthy feral cat population. Yep, that's true. They do hunt birds, and that is actually not a bad thing. Because the birds that are most likely to capture are the ones that are a little disoriented, a little sick, a little slow, a little one flight back to the flock short of infecting everybody. But cats can't get avian flu, and so they protect us by eating birds, oddly enough. If you're worried about there not being enough birds, I can show you plenty of techniques for attracting and feeding tons of birds. We actually have too many birds. We have too many. It saddens me whenever I see one of the songbirds get eaten, but the circle of life and everything else, that baby did not manage to figure out how to fly and goes on the ground, it becomes lunch. That's the way nature is supposed to work. That is the way it's supposed to work, guys. It's feedback. All right. Trains at night. We have night trains. Lori is asking what my email is. It is greencountryagroforestry@gmail.com, Lori. greencountryagroforestry@gmail.com, all one word. And of course, you can find our email at the About page, or you can plug in just the word Green Country Agroforestry and hit search on your search engine. It'll give us our address, my phone number, and exactly where I live, so you can find me. All right. Oh, no. Sebastian was this was like, I was like thinking of a character. Oh, this one might be fun. And I like, poof, there you go. He's a fashion designer. He's got a niece. He loves his niece dearly. I mean, he's a sensitive soul. But she has an allergy to cats, so she has to watch them. Oh, the humanity. All right, back to work. So yes, first thing in natural system principles, 2 things that nature cannot abide: a vacuum or a surplus. Either one is bad, and so you have to know this before you start trying to engineer or design a natural system. Because the idea behind the natural system is once you have it set up, it's supposed to be reinforcing. It's supposed to take care of itself, and the way that works, we'll get into it in a second. All right, the second bit is the purpose statement that I put on the previous page. That thing that I was talking about years and years ago, whenever I was looking at my wrecked wood chisel going, there's a fundamental lesson about life in this, right? I was going through a Zen phase, and instead of getting angry, I had been reading that one should seek one's teachers everywhere, including in the most adverse of certain situations. So whenever the person comes along that you find to be vexing, pause for a moment and ponder that the universe has blessed you so much to present you with a teacher that will help you develop your patience. Yeah, that kind of thing. It was horrible. So I was looking at this wrecked chisel and going, so what's the lesson I can learn out of this, right? And the lesson that occurred to me was, well, things that are used for their purpose, they endure, and things that are used against their purpose, they're broken. So part of the secret to learning how to have a healthy and happy life is to really get quickly as possible to what your actual fundamental purpose is. I hadn't quite hit upon that at the moment, but I mean, obviously that is the product of that sort of knowledge. So moving it back to the natural world, and this is in the context of the natural world, obviously, it's true of chisels, and hammers, but all the things that have been created in the natural world have been created with purpose. There's a purpose to everything in the natural world. It's there for a reason. You may not know what the reason is, but the natural system would not support it if it didn't have a purpose. Superfluous things, they get broken easily. They wear out easily. They are rejected by natural systems. So long as whatever it is continues to function according to its purpose, natural systems tend, they don't always, but they tend to tolerate and support a thing. Whether that thing's a plant, a being, an idea, the system will tolerate or support it as long as it's functioning according to purpose in the natural system. And of course, the feedback from a natural system is whenever it doesn't serve its purpose anymore, it's rejected or it breaks or it wears out, falls into obsolescence, so on and so forth. The plant having completed its life cycle, it bloomed, it fed the bees or the butterflies or the hoverflies or whatever nectar drinker, hummingbirds, moths, came by to visit it, and then it made its seeds, and then now this plant, having completed its life cycle, it needs to die and it needs to get out of the way because there's more stuff that needs to come up. So what happens? It gets powdery mildew, and we noticed this on the Lamium amplexicol the other day. If you watch the video on sweet lettuce, I ran across this and look, here it is, and it's getting that powdery mildew because it's already done splitting and it needs to die. And that mildew, the disease, is what's going to take it down. Well, it's out in an area where it's not getting grazed on, so it's not going to get eaten by an animal going, oh, and they ate this plant off. So I have to take the place of that animal by cutting it and then feeding it to the animals. That was the idea. The nature was taking care of it. The powdery mildew was going to bring that plant down, was going to kill it off, and it was going to decompose. Everything was going to be taken care of. There wasn't really anything that needed to be done there. So whenever it was done with its function, nature clears the plate, ready to start over with something new. All right. So everything has a purpose. People have purpose too. Whenever you figure out what your purpose is and you start aligning yourself with that purpose, then your exercising the power of creation becomes a lot more effective, provided, of course, that you do it in accordance with natural law. That's the other part of the equation that makes everything work. All right, and then part 3, every component of the natural system. I mentioned this, of course, recently in another video, strives to accomplish its own purpose, get the thing that it needs to live. The fact that it does so, the fact that it strives to go out and get what it needs and participates in this ecosystem is exactly what makes the ecosystem function. And that's what happens when you walk out into the woods. There's nobody tilling, there's nobody planting, there's nobody going to water, there's nobody fertilizing, yet everything thrives and everything functions. Why is that? And the reason that is because it is a natural functioning system. Natural functioning systems are set up in such a way that they do self-reinforce by each component striving to get what it needs to survive. And that's halfway through the night. And wow, that actually is the lesson. It's not all that long. We're just sort of chit-chatting a little bit on other stuff. Through my lenses, I watched videos on Earth ships built with tires. Yeah, so that's one way to use it. There's another way that they get used also. The road construction crews will take old tires if they can get a hold of them, grind them up, and mix them in with the asphalt and the concrete, and put that into the road surfacing. So you actually have a little rubber built into the road that you're running your rubber across. Presumably, it makes your tires last longer. That's kind of interesting. It gives the roadway a little bit more flexibility. Crazed Family Gardens is here. Hi, Amy. I was looking for your channel earlier, and I couldn't find it, and I swear I had subscribed to you, but I was looking for you in my subscribe channels, and I couldn't find it. And I thought that was most unusual. And then I tried searching, and I couldn't find you searching. So I'm going to come back after the live stream, find your channel logo there, and follow the link back and make sure I've subscribed to your channel. If somehow I got unsubscribed, yes. But anyway, hi. John says, I hear it helps to have a filing cabinet. I tell you what, keeping track of things has always been rough for me. If I don't write things down, I forget them. This is one of the reasons why when I was talking about the power of creation and how to use it a few weeks ago, I was talking more along the lines of how to direct your conscious thought, not necessarily the general overriding principles. And I probably should have started with principles first, otherwise I like lost people really quickly. I started talking about how to direct your conscious thought, and I was I should probably not really talk about that. Yeah. Anyway, um, I was giving a lesson, an advanced course on magic the other day. I was discussing so some of those concepts in other contexts, particularly with yeah, magic. Really, the idea or concept of magic is not, you know, spells and incantations. Those don't do anything. What does something is focusing your attention. So all of that stuff, all of it, all of the ritual, the bells, the candles, the focusing, the chants, the that stuff, all of that served was to focus the attention of the person that wants to make a change in reality, so that they put their mind on that. You actually don't need really a ritual for that, but writing down what you want to accomplish does huge things for you, because it takes that out of the realm of maybe sort of I'd like to someday, and puts it into a concrete thing that you can start building a path to. Right. But whenever I write down a goal, even if it's an outlandish, outrageous, can't possibly happen goal, right? Donald J. Trump endorses my cat track. Couldn't possibly happen, right? Whenever I write it down, I start the process of transforming that into a reality. Because now that I know what I want, I can start to try to find a path to that. If I don't know where I want to go, how can I get there? But if I put down a goal, even if it's a crazy one, if it is possible to get there, we can find a path there. And then, of course, the next part of that, I said, was you have to share whatever your dream is. Like I said, dream big, dream ridiculous. Go big or go home. Share it. And the people that say, oh, that's ridiculous, you're just dreaming, it's never going to happen. Well, you don't need those people. And yeah, they're probably going to be a lot of your friends and a lot of your family. They're not going to share that particular dream. You're not going to catch her. They're not going to realize that you're just dreaming big. And bravo, you should. Support big dreams. Maybe you can't help them come true, but maybe you can help them get down to the next person who can help them come true. Somewhere down the line, that line of people that's hearing the dream, you're going to have somebody that goes, you know, maybe you can't quite do that, but I know a way that you can do something really, really similar. And that person may get you one step closer. And maybe the thing that you're dreaming big for, it can't happen, but something very similar can. Something very similar can. Maybe I can't get Donald J. Trump to endorse Bilbo's Catwall. Maybe I can't. Maybe, and oh, guys, if you have not seen it yet, you have got to go check out the Technocats. Close to the end of their latest video, whenever we found out what Bilbo had spent his allowance on, he bought this. It's 8 foot long. It's 8 foot long. We had to find out how big the banner was, because this goes on the cat tractor in the front yard. So the cat can go and hunt gophers in the front yard without being attacked by dogs. But obviously, you know, border wall. I mean, I think he's nuts, but you know, cat's got his opinion. Who am I to argue? I don't know what else he's spending his allowance on. Oh, he's Bill the cat. Probably spending it on catnip. All right. Anyway. Let's see. Boomer, but oh, Mary's talking about the mushroom kit. Yeah, I have no idea where I put it right now. That would be the other problem. Yeah, because you have to maintain a sanitary environment, and a lot of those kit mushrooms just cannot handle. They can't handle things being a little rough. It's why I kind of like things like Stropharia rugosa annulata, Stropharia rugosa annulata, or the King Stropharia or winecap mushroom for a basic garden mushroom, because it eats mycelium, it eats wood chips. It doesn't really care too much what kind of wood chips they are, and it can handle being in areas where there are other fungi without getting itself wiped out. So I did discover that in competition with oyster, they pretty much cancel each other. They make really great soil really fast, but you don't ever see any mushrooms, no fruiting bodies, which is unfortunate. Remember, Mary, it's not what you know, it is what you can prove. I am a law abiding citizen. All right. Look at that. Too many rabbits because of feral cat trapping. You should get in touch with the American Society for Prevention of Cruelty for Animals and see if they can get a community cats program, trap, neuter, release, and monitor for your area. You can also partner up with, if you're close to a city or municipality, a lot of them really like partnering up with the ASPCA for just those purposes. For example, this area, city of Tulsa over there that way, and also the city of county. So either way, you're covered. Participates in the ASPCA's program. Yeah. Maybe the bird blocks root losses after this. Yeah. Don't know. Don't know. I think a lot of things are hyped more than they are, because I mean, we live out here in Oklahoma. We live in Tornado Alley, thunderstorms every year, every spring, every fall, thunderstorms, my entire life. Most tornadoes I've ever seen touching down on the ground at once was 3, and they were far away. The closest I've ever been to one has been right on top of me, and that one veered off very soon before it came into direct contact. Been stuck in a flood a few times. That's been fun. Snowed in, iced in, and without power for over a month because of extreme weather events. But you know what the National Weather Service has been doing lately, the last, I'd say a few years, 2 or 3 years at least, maybe 4 or 5, with the overhyping of extreme weather events. It's gotten to the point now where I hear, seek shelter now, and I go, yeah, whatever. I'll go. Let me go out and have a look at the storm myself and make up my own mind, because I think I know. I've been around them long enough. Let me take a look and see if there's actually a hazard here, or if you're just going, the sky is falling, everybody go hide. And I know early reporting does save lives, but a lot of the reports, they seem to be overhyped, and maybe it's they're broadcasting a greater area of alert than is necessary. I don't know, but it is to the point now where somebody says there's a thunderstorm, and I go, okay, are we going to get any rain at all? Severe weather warning. Oh, good. I wonder if we're going to get rain. Probably not, but we can always hope. Let's see. a breakout of politician flu. Huh. Let's see. Yeah, don't have to worry. Cicadas aren't locusts. They won't eat your crops, but they do like trees. they like to host in trees and eat the yummy sap out of the leaves, and the birds are going to go nuts. They really like the mulberries for some reason too. You want to catch cicadas, you'll look for them in your mulberries. They'll be hanging out there. We may have a cicada on the porch. They're noisy. Sorry, I'm trying to scroll down and my mouse is not wanting to cooperate. There we go. Cater to the Leroys, your life could be lucrative. It says he needs more mayonnaise. Prentice is teaching you lessons. There's no stupid questions, only stupid people. Yeah, but really it is. Look for the opportunities to find your lessons. You'd be surprised at where you can find teachers. Um, okay, I saw this. Okay, I'm just stretching here, right? I saw this Jordan Peterson clip. I like watching Jordan Peterson clips because um, he's a psychiatrist with an entrepreneur daughter, and I'm an entrepreneur with a psychiatrist daughter. Uh, but he was talking about the curse of high intelligence and how being highly intelligent has got to be a problem because you get prideful or you can get arrogant with having a high intelligence. And I don't know. I mean, the way it worked for me when I was young, they took me in and had me tested, and they obviously I knew I was fairly smart, right? So well, yeah, you're smart, but we want you to have a normal childhood, so we're not going to tell you what the story is. This you don't want to hear this. Like I'm waiting for like how bad is it, right? We want you to have a normal childhood, so we're not going to tell you what your IQ is. Great. But then you proceed to not have a normal childhood. And now I have to wonder, right, after all these years, after all the brain cells I killed, drinking enough to float a battleship, it's your duty, after all, to make sure that your ship can leave port. So you have to drink enough to create the salt water to float your ship out of port. Anyway, lots of brain cells died during my Navy career. And then whenever I want to go take one of those, you can do them online, right? You can take the IQ test. See how smart you are. I have to get really drunk because whenever I'm not really drunk, I don't care. Somebody is walking outside. Somebody is walking outside and investigating the car. I'll bet it's Brendan. Let me check. Yep. I'd recognize that wheeze anywhere. Okay. What was it doing? Oh, yes. Drinking large amounts, killing brain cells, floating the ship out of harbor. And like I said, I have to get drunk to take this online test because I ordinarily don't care. And I don't care because whenever I look at these tests, after a few questions, I start to wonder about the intelligence of the person who wrote the thing because they're making it multiple choice. They don't realize that they actually did give two correct answers. And if you really want to think about it, 3, 4, if you want to break the laws of physics in a funny way. But I don't know what your intelligence level was, so I don't know what answer you were expecting, but probably the common one. And if I'm drunk enough, then I just don't care, and I'll choose the answer that probably the person who wrote the test thought was the right one. And then I score like 137 on the low average, whenever I take them. So apparently, whenever I'm 3 sheets to the wind, I'm highly gifted. And the rest of the time, I don't care. Because I encounter genius every single day. And it's not coming out of my head, it's coming out of everybody else's. I'm not all that smart. I really am not. I might have a gift for being able to recognize genius whenever I see it. Maybe that's a rare talent. Who knows? But I see genius all the time, and most of the time it's not me. Whenever I come up with something clever, don't worry, I'll let you know. So I guess Peterson is right. Pride is a problem. And if I come up with something really clever, I'll let you know about it. The rest of the time, it's mainly I just get excited about sharing the thing that I learned just now. Or I just figure like, wait a minute, I just occurred to me. Here, let me share this with you. Oh yeah, somebody else figured this out 200 years ago. It's called Pythagorean theorem. Oh, darn. Too late for that. All right. Vicky says, I'm having a hard time believing there are too many critters. The early accounts were of skies darkened by flocks and prairies so covered by bison that the grass was invisible. Ah. It is amazing the abundance that a natural system can produce. A natural system can produce in such abundance that the only way you can generate a profit is to artificially create scarcity. It's something disturbing. Sometimes two people ask the best questions. Yeah, all right. Well, it would be stupid not to ask, right? All right. Well, there is that. There was more carbon. There was more. Yeah, you're right. There was more carbon once upon a time. That's what everything is. The other thing about this, right now, everybody who's sitting here watching, everybody who's sitting here watching, um, every blade of grass, every flower, every tree, every bird, every butterfly, every grubworm, every worm, every microbe, every plankton, every protozoa, and of course, yes, every human being is composed of the carbon that had to come out of the atmosphere first. There's no other way. For the carbon portion of your body, which is a large portion of it, to be here without having first come out of the atmosphere. So ponder on that for a minute. Yeah, trees grow from the air down. It's weird. There is about 50% materials that do come from the. Some materials do come from the soil, like the calcium, for example. All the carbon in the tree comes from the atmosphere. All the carbon in your body comes from the atmosphere by way of a tree or a plant or something else that photosynthesizes. All right. Yep, I do recall large flocks of starlings, huge ones, huge ones. John, we are saving the surprise. They will all be going out over the course of about 12 days. All the letters will go out over the course of about 12 days. So don't worry, we're working on it. We have to have the cat tractor built before the letters start arriving. Otherwise, it's a timing thing. Getting some people to sit still and not take independent action is actually the problem here. It's like, no, you have to wait. If you wait, then we don't have to worry about building a case. The perp will incriminate themselves. Oh, Mary says she had a dream about aliens. It turns out it was me from the future. Yeah, but she was telling me about that dream. It's like, yeah, that's not okay. So apparently, it was me from the future. That's interesting. Uh, it sounded like it was a great dream. Probably should have wrote it down earlier. All right. Oh yeah. I read off one of those already, didn't I? Yes, it did. Genevieve. So yeah, if you watch the Glenn Beck program in the morning, whenever he has hour one, he does the first hour of his show on YouTube. Um, John does some of his character writing in the chat during the Glenn Beck program, and he's created a character in a nursing home by the name of Genevieve, who apparently has a thing for Ovaltine. Uh, so the first one of the letters written in support of of Community Cats was written by a nice old lady from the nursing home that would be happy to share some Ovaltine with you if you would like. Let me see here. Yeah, Amy has been radio silent. I have not heard from you in ages. And I am having issues with StreamYard not wanting to cooperate with me here. Yeah, right. It's like every time they get on the radio, it's like, no, you need to take cover right now. No, you don't. It's just an ordinary thunderstorm. We might not even get wet. Shoot. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I clicked on the wrong thing. I was planning on clicking on the thing about out of nowhere tornadoes. Yeah, the storm was like boom. Oh wow, that was big, and now it's gone. How do you feel about this? Well, I'm glad we still have a house. Was it? Well, yeah, that's just the thing. The tests are stupid. The tests are actually stupid. And I think that's probably what the problem is. You get people with a certain level of education, they get people with a certain level of intellect, and they think, well, I'm better than average, so I must be better than average. You say, no, you're not better than average. You just managed to take a test better than some other people that took that particular test. Doesn't mean that you're smarter than a whole bunch of other people, guys. It doesn't. It really doesn't. Because there are geniuses all around you that you didn't even know were geniuses because you're looking for the wrong things. You didn't even know it was genius. You don't know what to look for. Kind of proof that you weren't that smart to begin with. I didn't even know I was supposed to be looking for this genius over here. There it is. Wow, look. Goopy. Yep. Greetings to South Carolina. Oh, yeah. Try to find out what you're good at so you can pursue that. Well, sometimes it's best to start out with what you've got the passion for, and then work on pursuing that passion in some way that makes rational sense. Um, Maybe it's not quite obvious what the path to the living is there, but what was the old advice? What would you do if money is no object? How would you live your life if money didn't matter? Is there a reason why you can't start living your life that way now? Maybe and that this exercise creativity or creativity. I want to be involved in blah blah blah. What's my passion? How do I get involved in that? Get involved in that. Well, I don't have the money to be what I want to be in that. Don't worry about having the money to be what you want to be in that. Get involved in that. Be involved in that, whatever that thing is, the culture, the people, the ecosystem, right? The ecosystem. Plug yourself into the ecosystem that supports the thing that you want to become. While you're there, you're going to learn how to become the thing that you want to become. You're going to encounter the people that'll teach you the lessons that you need to learn. Remember, you find your teachers everywhere, especially when you're looking for them. Especially when you're looking for them. Why? How are you going to be looking for them? Why are you going to be looking for them? You plug yourself into that ecosystem, right? Whatever it is that you want to do and whatever it is that you want to become. I'm not being very vague because it applies all over the place. It applies to gardening, right? You want to know how to garden? Start watching YouTube. Find people that garden. Go, hey, tell me about how you're gardening. Tell me about how you're gardening. Tell me about how you're gardening. Maybe this technique's not going to work for you. Maybe that technique will. Maybe part of that technique will, but the rest of that technique will fill it out. Maybe there's the rest of it something that hasn't even been invented yet. You're going to sit here and go, well, I'm going to imagine a solution to my problem, and I'm not going to go look for a choice that's just been created by somebody else as an answer out of the box because maybe I'm not satisfied with the answers out of the box, or perhaps one of them doesn't exist. Right? maybe it's a novel problem. Nobody's tackled this one before. So use your creativity. Maybe you get to add to that school of knowledge in that ecosystem that you plugged yourself into, right? And there are all kinds of ecosystems. I mean, I'm saying ecosystems. We think about ecosystems as here are the bacteria, here are the plants, here are the trees, here are the animals, here are the things that feed each other. That is one way of looking at it. Yes, that's one way. Another way of looking at it is these systems that exist that have disparate, separate, discrete components. These separate, discrete components, each striving itself for what it needs in the group together, creates a functioning ecosystem. It's economies, it's social relationships, it's gardening, and it's scalable any way you want to go with it. Hey, I'm over an hour. Wow, we filled some time tonight, right? Are you creating a garden? Are you planting a garden, or are you creating an ecosystem? And this goes, like I said, in all different directions in your life, in the world you live in. Are you planting a garden? Or are you creating an ecosystem? Are you slamming trees into the ground, hoping a forest emerges? Or are you changing the soil and creating an ecosystem? Same thing. In your life, in the soil, in society. Ecosystems. Think about it. All right. Real quick recap, looking over chats. Sasquatch says, this kid goes first to Mars, I'll be happy. Wouldn't that be awesome? We're going to have to work out a lot of things before we get the Mars colony going. We have to learn how to terraform. We have to learn how to live on Earth. We're still working out living on Earth, but we've got Elon working on getting us to Mars. So I guess that means I've got a timetable, because we got to get this living on Earth thing figured out so we can take an ecosystem, learn how the ecosystem functions, and transplant a functioning ecosystem into a place like Mars. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, cats are going to have to go to Mars. You've been reading Robert Heinlein, haven't you? That's right. That's right. I grew up reading those stories. I'm dating myself here. Woohoo! Grandma Zoo is making wild lettuce tincture. Awesome. And of course, now we know what to look for whenever we go to harvest wild lettuce. If you're looking for the stuff for tincture, you're looking for Leuctuca cereola or Leuctuca barossa. You're looking for just a wild lettuce that's good to eat. You're looking for Leuctuca canadensis. John's way too late to the party. Yeah, we're almost done for the night. Almost done for the night. Amy's making wild lettuce tincture right now. Everybody's making wild lettuce tincture. Maybe I should make a wild lettuce tincture. I probably don't have to do a video of it because everybody else is doing it, right? So that's just the thing, right? I don't have to make a wild lettuce tincture video because there are other people doing it. The ecosystem is handling it. I don't have to do it. This is work I don't have to do. It's great. I love it. I can sit back and enjoy my tang because the ecosystem is managing the creation of wild lettuce tincture videos without my input whatsoever. Cheers. Thank you. All right. But Amy's got one of those Excalibur dehydrators, of course. So you have to play with it. You are very, very welcome. I'm glad to help. Glad to help. And I have been, curious, and like, I know there's this lesson, that lesson, that lesson, that lesson. I know they're all wild lettuce, and back ever since I was a kid, going out and I was like, it's a lettuce, right? It's like keep on taking one at random and tasting it. It was like, no, that was bitter. No, that was bitter. No, that was bitter. It's like every time I try a wild lettuce, they're bitter. It's like, how in the world did anybody ever decide to breed something you can eat out of this? This is just crazy. This stuff is too bitter. You can't eat it. But then I encountered one last year that it was a Leuctuca canadensis. It was right out here outside the porch area, by the our yellow cannas, the can of Louisiana. And I picked it because it was a really, really handsome specimen. Pretty looking wild lettuce. I'm like, oh wow, you're healthy. And so I picked to leave. It's like, it's going to be bitter, but I'm just curious because it looks like it is very, very healthy. And I started eating. And I'm like, okay, the bitterness is going to kick in at the time. I consumed an entire leaf. And it was a fairly large leaf. It wasn't a small one. Like, okay, that one wasn't bitter. Take another one. Got a bigger leaf this time. Started chewing on it. And maybe right down towards the base of it, started to get a little bit bitter at the base. I was like, okay, I found a wild lettuce that isn't bitter. This is wonderful. Ah! You know, and then I was like, which one is this? And I tracked it down, and it was a Lactuca canadensis. So I was like, okay, we're gonna let this one go to seed, and we're gonna take the seeds, and we're gonna spread them all over the garden. And now we have little Lactuca canadensis popping up all over the garden. I've been running around and sampling them, and going, okay, this one's palatable. It's not too bad. No, this one's too bitter. I'm gonna pull it out. And whenever it's too bitter, I was pulling it out. So I could have taken all the ones I'm pulling out because I don't want them to go to seed in the garden, right? Unless it's the one that I want to cultivate. I'll have to do this for generations before I can get a sweet lettuce out of it. But it's already sweet enough. If you pick them early enough in the year, the leaves are still sweet. So we'll see if I can manage to slowly breed a wild lettuce that's palatable all the time. Food for surviving the zombie apocalypse. Mary is asking, where are the cats? Betty is right up there, and Bilbo is in the cat tunnel behind me. But we have to put the cat tunnels away at night because they start to play in it. Grandma Zoo is saying, landrace wild lettuce. That is exactly what I'm doing. I am land raising wild lettuce. That's it. Because I don't have to plant it. I don't have to plan. All I got to do is if I spend a few seasons going through and taste testing it and getting it down to the point where the only ones that are going to seed in the immediate area around me are ones that produce a nice palatable flavor, not too bitter. Then yeah, I'm going to be producing a land race of wild lettuce that will seed itself, that will provide me with fresh greens during the time period of the spring that the more palatable greens haven't come up yet. Stuff like the daylilies. We're gonna have lots of daylily flowers. Whenever we start having daylilies, I can actually survive the entire summer off of those flowers. They're wonderful. they're tasty and they're filling. It's the most amazing thing. Let me see. Yes, we've got cat harnesses and cat leash. I've been working on getting the cats accustomed to the harnesses. This may seem odd, but there is a guy that makes bondage equipment that is volunteered, but he's interested in making a cat harness for Mistress Betty. She is Mistress Betty. I don't. Space Cat backpack. Oh, yes, we did get the backpacks in, but that will be for the next. That will be for the next Technocats video. Whenever they do their thing, give me a second here. I gotta find something. I'd hoped that moderators would appear and drop links, but apparently moderators did not appear and drop links. So I will have to do the dropping of links myself. That's good. I have to lean forward. What are you doing? I don't want you to open a new tab, you silly thing, you. Why are you opening a new tab? I don't want to open it. I do not want to open a new tab. Okay. I don't get it. Over here. My computer's being weird. Obviously. Okay, every time I try to search in a field, it opens up a new tab. It's weird. Okay. Oh, we have cap lock turns on. That might have something to do with it. Nope. I don't know why it's behaving this way. Okay. My computer is having issues, apparently. It will not allow me to search anything. So I was going to try to share the link for the Technocats, but unfortunately, I cannot do anything with my computer right now because it is having issues. I do not know why it is having issues, but it is having issues. Hey, I can type here. Okay, let's try it this way. All right, let me see if I can find it this way. No? How about that? Where are you at? Where are you at? Okay, so for some reason I can't find the links. This is no good. I hate having to find them this way. I'm having to scroll through the little list on the side. Hang on. Maybe I can find it through history. This is so annoying. It's also possible that somebody changed the thumbnail and I don't recognize the thumbnail anymore. Wait, no, I cannot find the channel. Oh, there it is. Okay, there it is. There you are. My apologies. Technical difficulties. My bad. Here we go. Let me share a link with you, and then I can actually find it. My apologies. It took me so long. Put this in here. All right. So, that's why the moderator wasn't sharing links. The moderator is not a key. So there's a link for video from a channel called the Technocats. The Technocats. This is actually not my channel. It's a channel I'm helping to launch from my porch, but it's not my channel. It is their channel. Kimber is the person who's running the Technocats channel. If you watch this particular video that I just put the link down for, look at the comments below, the comment section, and I put a timestamp down there. It's close to the end of the video. It's close to the end of the video. I was thinking about going, and I completely totally forgot about it until the last minute. I was thinking about sharing this little tiny clip with you close to the end, where we're opening the mail and Bilbo's Trump 2024 banner comes in, and you can see what Bilbo's reaction to it was. Like Bill, and he got embarrassed. He's like, no, don't let me know. I'm a Trump supporter. His expression when he got caught out as a secret Trump supporter was just priceless. Billy showing up at the last minute, broke down the goat pen, laid the tarp out. Next few days, have to make some super soil. Not looking forward to it. Work. That's a lot of work. That's correct. John already said he didn't want a wrench. 3 neighbors helping. I mean, that helps out a lot whenever you've got neighbors that'll help you with projects. Yeah, that does sound like loads of work, but shit, you got to do the loads of work to get the loads of rewards, right? The loads of benefits. Laying the groundwork for forest gardens is a lot of work up front, but once they're established, they are hyper productive without a lot of input on the daily basis. And now we got to this point that every expansion is super easy. it's getting to the point where it's super easy to just go boom, 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 because we already have established plants. We already have established trees. Uh, I can propagate more of the things we already have. So as long as it's not something new, all I'm doing is propagating and doing new iterations of things that we already have. So motorbikes. Yeah. So I have a tub, a kiddie pool that I filled full of that Miracle-Gro potting soil, and I transplanted violet plugs out into it. I went and found wild violets growing in the yard, and I took a couple of them, divided them up, make sure I had a few plants, and just put them with a hand space in between each one. Right, hand space, and then let it go. Sit under the shade of the maple tree for a year, and I came back this year and went, okay, the entire tub's filled in. The entire tub's filled in, and everywhere I just had one little tiny plant in. It's now a cluster, a little clump. And so I can take each one of those clumps and pull it out, pop off one little plant, put it back where it came from. I've got this huge clump. This huge clump has maybe 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 20 plants. I don't know. Every one of them is different. Some of them have more, some of them have less. And so we can pop off new plants and just drop them in all over the place. So this year I started planting violets everywhere along a walking path. Everywhere I go, there's a wood chip walk path. There's a wood chip walk path there. That means there's a trench there. If there's a trench there, it's filled with wood chips all the way down. So it's banking and storing water and then slowly turning into compost there in the walkway. It's not doing it on over here in the garden space. So all of that breakdown is happening under my feet. But right beside each one of those what wood chip walk paths, there's the violets on either side. Hi, Kimber. How you doing?
Doing good. Just listening to a pirate song.
Oh, are you okay? I went and dropped the link for Technocats. I was wondering why you hadn't dropped the links yet, and then I realized, oh, were you guys out and about just now?
Brendan was.
Brendan was.
In the room reading, trying to stay awake.
You've been in the room reading, trying to stay awake, and
listening to music,
and not dropping your channel link in here. What you're supposed to.
I may or may not have hyper focused into my book. It's a really good book with an emotional roller coaster. Drama stuff. So
yeah. The video where we're trying out the harnesses is kind of cute, but of course the long unboxing video, like right there at the very end, is just like the funniest part, where we find Bilbo's order. Anyway,
if Mary's head, how much longer until the cat tree comes in?
I don't know. Mary, if you're still there, Kimber would like to know when the new cat tree is arriving.
She said it was supposed to be this week.
Yes.
I'm just wanting to know
if
the
established trees. Yep. This is actually just regular old Tang.
That's a really good pot.
It's Tang and water. That's it.
I'm re-shutting the door.
Tang and water. Tang and water out of a mason jar. You could also add Kool-Aid. This goes back to my childhood, where we got all of our water right out of the well. It was kind of sulfurous. So to disguise the smell, we mix in Kool-Aid and Tang, whatever, tea. You never drink just water by itself because it tastes funny. But of course, the mosquitoes would leave you alone. So there are hidden advantages to having sulfurous water. Oh yeah, I ran out of coffee. I came prepared because I knew I was probably going to run out of coffee. Getting up to 80 degrees in Tennessee, in the shade in Tennessee.
Mhm.
Hey, I caught up with chat. That's awesome. All right, guys. What are we going to do here? All right. Did I cover everything? Part 3, the last bit. Each component of a natural system strives to accomplish its own purpose in life, the thing that it needs. It's this striving that makes the whole ecosystem function. Yep. I put that at the very beginning of Building Your Forest Garden Part 2. It's kind of like, here's the secret, giving it away. This is the thing that makes it all work. It's all of those parts, each one doing its bit, trying to live. That's what makes it all work. I will leave you at that. Maybe a little good night music as we wind down, possibly. Maybe, possibly, if I can remember how to play a song. This one is called Starlight Dreaming. It's a lullaby. Okay, here we go. If I can sit properly, this is not my usual chair. I'm going to make excuses because that's what I do. Maybe next time I'll tune the guitar before I play it. Just a little bit. It wasn't that much, but hey, I could hear it. All right, so haven't had an issue with powdery mildew since you planted cereal rye a few years ago. That's interesting. I mean, that's actually really interesting. I'll have to check that out. All right, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm glad you liked the song, Amy. I will catch you all later. I wrote that a couple years ago. Good night, everybody. I'll catch you next time.